lot of money. Probably about $100 a week.
Yeah, I spend a ton. I have no idea what the meal plan is, but probably at least $50 on just snacks or going out to eat a week.
Too much. I probably go out to eat once a week.
I don't have one. I have no credit built up, so.
Honestly, I don't really know. I know that it's important, and I know that I don't know what it is.
I'm going on a road trip this summer, so saving up for that.
Kinda just putting money away so that I can have money to live on my own and not have to move back in with my parents right when I graduate. So kind of just living expenses.
Oh, I would take full advantage for sure.
I would say let's do it because I need knowledge of that.
I would say I could definitely benefit from that. That could be helpful.
The Nexus Financial Discipleship Center is a center within our Ron Blue Institute that is a peer-to-peer financial discipleship platform. What we've done is we've taken students, we've hired them and then trained them to be a coach as it relates to financial decision making that all students typically will be encountering. So for example, creating a budget, creating a spending plan, trying to avoid debt or paying off debt. We really strive to be principle-driven rather than prescriptive. We don't want to tell a student, you need to do this, or these are the exact steps that you need to do it in. What we really are trying to get to is the student needs to understand that they need to make a change. We know that that change is going to be challenging, and so we can be there side by side with them as they go through that process.
What we do as coaches, we build relationships. And so it's not just you coming in and talking about your finances, it's coming in and building a relationship with us. A lot of times I buy Macan for all of my students who come and talk to me, and so it's just a casual conversation that I like to have over a cup of coffee, and it's not interrogating, it's more of a conversation between two people and just building that relationship that goes on way further than just the interaction that we have for your finances.
Probably one of the coolest things that I've seen with my clients being able to do is for them to start tracking their expenses initially. And once they start doing that, a lot of them realize on their own without me even having to say anything to them. They're realizing on their own where their priorities are, they're realizing what's important to them, and they're identifying those things, and they're automatically taking courses of action on their own without even us having to really talk about it.
Whenever I thought about the idea of money or credit or anything surrounding that, it was very stressful to me, and I felt a lot of fear about that. And I was able to identify that a lot of that was just because it was lack of understanding, because I didn't know what I was doing. So more fear of the unknown than anything. And so I decided that probably the best way to do that would be to educate myself about it. So that was my original motivation behind going into the program. One of the things I went into advising wanting to know is how to better manage credit, what was the point behind it, and so I went into it with a lot of questions about credit, and I've learned a lot about credit. I've actually applied for a credit card, and I will be activating it next week, and just kind of the benefits of establishing good credit, but good credit isn't no credit.
I found out about Nexus through a buddy of mine, Trent, and he's actually my financial advisor now. He told me that he got this job in September, and that through the summer I made a decent amount of money, and I wanted to not spend that frivolously and to spend that through what the Lord has provided for me, so to make it more beneficial for everyone involved.
Yeah, a common misconception is that a budget is what limits your spending, but really a budget controls spending and helps you delegate where to spend your money, and that has been something that we've been going through, and you really controlling where you're putting your money towards has really benefited everything that all the goals that we've set for you.
So for a first-time client, they would go onto our website, they would register to or schedule an appointment, and then they'll get an automatic email asking them to fill out a SurveyMonkey, and it has maybe 25 to 30 questions on it. It's just giving your overall financial profile, and all of that information is to be held confidentially. And all that does is it helps us as the coach prepare for the meeting and know which topics are important to you, and be able to prepare materials and as a student and be able to best help you with that.
We really teach 5 fundamental principles as it relates to money and money management. So one is you've got to spend less than you earn. So that's principle number 1. Number 2 is we want to avoid the use of debt. So if we're spending less than we earn, then we can apply rule number 2. Once we apply rule number 2, we can begin to maintain liquidity or savings, the kind of emergency fund. Once we have that, then we can move on to setting long-term goals, things like retirement and maybe buying a second home. And then ultimately, the cumulative process of all of this is to give generously. And so we want to make sure that if we are spending less than we earn, avoiding debt, maintaining liquidity, setting long-term goals, and giving generously, then we are using a biblical model as it relates to money, managing our money.